It's Feel Good Friday with Dr. Phil 2. It's time to fill your Friday with something good. Come on together, let's shape a new start with clarity, confidence, and purpose. It's Feel Good Friday. Hey, what's up, everybody? Listen, we are back with Feel Good Friday. It's been a minute, and actually the last podcast that we did have was with Lance Moncrieffe. So we're just continuing our conversation, and so excited to have you back. Listen, we have so much to talk about. We have your book to talk about.
Yep.
We have your trip to Jamaica to talk about.
Yep.
And we have mentorship to talk about. So we have so much to pack in to 30 minutes. But listen, first, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. God is good. I'm just blessed. We're at this converging point of so many things happening right now for me. You know, my wife and I and son just went through the hurricane in Jamaica. We were there. For the last 6 months, I've been writing this book. We're at the place now where it's going to drop in a month. Our paths have crossed because we're looking at new ventures on the horizon, and those things are starting to pop. So really good. There's no better Friday to feel good than this Friday. I'm doing well.
That's it. Wow. So you were in Jamaica.
Yeah.
During the storm. Tell us a little bit about how you navigated this. What part of the island were you?
Yeah.
And how did you even survive this?
Yeah. So, I was in Jamaica for a good month before the storm came. And so when we understood that it was coming, it's a lot of threat about where it would impact the island, if it impacted it at all. Now, it's coming south of Jamaica. We are on the north coast of Jamaica, and in a place called St. Anne's. It's like basically the middle north of Jamaica. To our left on the map is Montego Bay, and it crossed the southern part of the island and came up through a place where I grew up, and then crossed the island over into Montego Bay. So when you look at the cone of the storm, we literally, where we live, is really on the very border of that cone. So it felt horrible. I was out there filming and so forth. It was really, really hard. There are things nothing was staying in place. But when the daylight hit, Doc, man, it looked like nothing happened where we were. It really, when we take pictures and we send to our family so they can know that we're okay, they said, but you sure the storm was there? And it was there, but we did not get impacted near as much as other folk. The next morning we went out on the road to kind of see the damage. I'd estimate from coast to coast, east to west on the north coast, the power lines, 6 out of every 10 power lines are down, meaning everything on the north coast has lost power. Really, all of the island lost, the majority of the island lost power. Where we were still without power even up to today. So it'll be another 2 weeks before the promised time of electricity returning. And in our development, we've got our own water supply, thank goodness. So we were not without water for more than 24 hours. But everyone that you will see, almost to a man, as you go throughout the island, they don't have water and they don't have power. Almost everyone that you will see within our area. There's a church in our area that, we would attend, and that was flattened. I don't mean like the roof blew off. I mean, it's gone. The whole thing, it's like you just crushed it like a can. There are other churches that we would pass by and the roofs are off completely. People's beds are, on the side of the road. It's just horrific to see what people are going through. And so, I would ask for the prayers for my folk. As you know, I'm from Jamaica, and you know, there it means a lot to me. You know, so I'm back so often, and so my plan is to be back. You know, depending on what the FFA does with all the airline travel, because they're reducing it by some 40%. But if I
Wow.
can go back in the next, 3 weeks or so, that's my plan. Um, but things are tough for the majority of people. I feel so blessed. My wife and I talk about this from after the day after the storm. It's as if we weren't touched, you know. So I'm blessed, man. But I'm praying for. There's some family on my wife's side that we've not been able to hear from. Uh,
Mm.
so we're or ears are out to see if we can get into those more rural areas to see how things are going. Um, but just a devastating time for the country.
And I guess it was depending on where you were staying
Yeah,
that storm hit the worst or the least.
yeah. It is the western part of the island. From the south was the worst, and as you know, as it went up to through the top of the north part of the island, it decreased a little bit in its ferocity. But of course, wherever it made initial land impact, that was just decimated. And so believe the videos that you do see, but don't believe, if you're not from Jamaica, don't have any association with Jamaica, have no frame of reference, don't believe that we're all living in huts and they're all blown away. Nothing like that exists. There's devastation just the same way that if a hurricane came to North Carolina, where it did a couple, years ago, that we would find devastation, but you still had things that are full in structure. So, we're doing well, and I'm so impressed by the amount of give back from folk, from
Mm.
celebrities, from countries, from the US here, from churches. If you have the ability to absolutely give whatever it is that you can give. Um, so that's what I would say about it. I don't want to get taken away too much on it, but we would not have expected this 3 weeks ago. And we're dealing with something that probably will take the better part of 9 to 12 months for the country to get back on its feet the way that it was before. So a lot of work in front of us.
How
But
far in advance did you know that a storm was coming, and how much preparation were people able to do?
yeah, so now the last major storm that hit Jamaica was 37 years ago. Okay, that was Hurricane Gilbert. And I was there playing dominoes on my porch. Hurricane Gilbert was a category 3, I believe.
Hmm.
So for almost 40 years, we've been hearing about these hurricanes that never come, affect other areas and so forth. And so when you're not touched, I don't think you take it as seriously as you ought to. Uh,
Hmm.
and because the way this storm, initially as a tropical storm, formed, no one could tell you what the real definitive path was. And so you mix that and you layer that on top of nothing's come for 37 years.
Yeah.
Um, there is an anxiousness, but it's also balanced out by this kind of a lax attitude. That's how I personally felt. I didn't think it was going to come. Oh, it's going to pass us here. It's going to go over to Haiti. Oh, it's going to go over here. Man, I hope the Cayman Islands are okay when it misses us. That's the way that it appeared. And for maybe we knew that it was coming a good week before it hit. But you always thought if it's Monday, they said, oh, it's coming on Wednesday. Wednesday comes, it's coming on Thursday. So every day it never went north, it just kept going south. And so at some point I started thinking, this thing's just going to pass us completely. And then wouldn't you know it, nature had its way and it came. So there are a lot of folk who weren't prepared. And I think some fear, when you knew that it was coming, some fear destabilizes some of your logical thinking. So there are just some things that we did um, that seemed like you don't care. It's, oh, I'm not leaving. This is my house, or what have you. Uh,
Hmm.
and that's fair talking. It's fair talking. So Pray for the government, man. They had been doing an excellent job up until this point, and I expect that they and their partners will be able to pull off something well, so that the infrastructure gets built back up in the areas where it needs, and we can get back to some normalcy.
Wow. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, you're driving down and seeing the destruction. Or were there places for people to stay, shelters, or I mean, is there even that a possibility?
There are those possibilities, but you're not going to see that where you have the roadways, because all of the large trees were literally on the coast, right? So you come out of my development, you're on a major road, and you look across the road, and there's the ocean. That's where you are. You're right on the shore for the entire North Coast. So what happens is you have the shoreline, the road, and then you have a lot of vegetation. So large, nice big trees that look beautiful, and fruit trees, mango trees, breadfruit trees, all these things that we love, ackee trees, but they're all bent over. They're broken now. They're in the middle of the road. The power lines are down, and so really your way of travel is on a road that's obstructed by a lot of this. So in the morning, there's a lot of community and humanity coming together, sawing trees, getting them out the way. This is where you see the community and the authorities working hand in hand. And as you travel the roads, even before I left, the police are whizzing up and down the streets, not to tackle crime, because that's not the majority of their effort right now. They're actually taking supplies from one end of the island to the other, right? And so they become the guarded courier for all of these goods to go where they need to go. So what I leave with is a picture of his devastation, but of the Jamaica that I knew as a kid, where everybody helped everybody. Like you're seeing that kind of feel.
Yeah.
So despite the misfortune of dealing with a Category 5 hurricane, you reveal who we're made of,
Wow.
in the end of
Mhm.
it. So
Mhm.
that feels good in an odd way.
Mhm. Yeah. And so, yeah, I know even, between our ministers in Baltimore and several other people, individuals, organizations are
Yeah.
putting together GoFundMe's.
Yeah.
They're putting together fundraisers to, and not just to send barrels, but also to bring them.
Yeah.
And so I know we're looking at when we can get out there and help build back, and uh, you know, just see how we can improve the situation which we're in. So they talked about supplies like clothes, even beds.
Yeah. Everything,
Yeah.
Doc, because the folk who are most impacted are in rural areas where the infrastructure is not good. You see videos of people who have lost everything. My office here is sizable. This may be the size of half of someone's house that was just wood and zinc. It's gone. When you ask individuals, what do you need? Well, I need the basic necessities: food, water. I need some lumber to rebuild my house. So they're starting from scratch. So there is nothing that you can send that would not be relevant.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing you can send.
Yeah.
Think of what the needs of children, think of feminine needs, think of clothes overall. No amount of water is too much. Canned goods, those
Mhm.
kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um, Anything that you do. This is a little boy with his lunch. God's
Mm.
going to multiply. It doesn't matter what it is that you send. It will feed thousands and thousands of people. God will allow that to happen. So, you do that with our deep sense of humanity. God's going to scale that in the way that's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hoping that, airlines will understand people are coming over not to vacation, but to help. So that
Yeah, yeah. There's some indication of that now, because when I traveled back, checking in for my flight, um, at least this one airline, JetBlue, said, "Hey, we're not going to charge you for any bags." And
Mm,
that's so that when people come down, they're not restricted with what they bring down, and
yes.
they don't have to feel like they have to pay to bring these goods to help others. So that's a really good indication. There
Mhm.
are a lot of small things like that is happening from enterprises that are connected to Jamaica that makes things just a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wow. So we will continue to pray
Yeah,
for Jamaica, and we just heard about the Philippines as well.
yeah,
So we're throwing the Philippines in the prayer. They had a major typhoon. I'm sure there'll be other organizations that will be looking. Uh,
yeah. 2 days after the hurricane hit Jamaica, there was a 6.8 earthquake in Afghanistan. Like all these things just get overshadowed by the main storm. But there's a lot of movement right now, physical movement in the earth at this juncture. So we'll keep those folk in prayer as well.
yeah, yeah, and that should tell us something.
It does. It does. I don't want to add to the alarmist sound, um, but no one with a pair of spiritual eyes can look at what's
Yeah,
taking place and not admit the Lord's hand is moving so that
yeah,
we can hear. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've put in the link to everybody, ADRA,
Mhm.
and this is a way you can give, because they're going to handle so many different, um, individual needs. So
Yeah.
whether it be Jamaica, whether it be Philippines, whether it be Afghanistan, there are going to be other places that they will be able to help. So ADRA is definitely, this will be a good time to open up the USAID. This would be a good time to go back to these things, to help our countries and help our places. But yeah, so we're going to have a major initiative that will go, and I've already donated to people's,
Mhm.
whether it's an individual. If I know you,
Mhm.
cool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you got to
Yeah.
be careful of who's asking for money. And so there are general people, the Red Cross, there's ADRA,
Yeah.
that you can give to, but you want to be careful of who is asking. If I know you specifically, and I
Yeah.
know you're specifically connected to Jamaica, and you have a GoFundMe, okay, cool, we'll support.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful of who is asking,
Soliciting those funds. Yeah.
soliciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
people take advantage of people,
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Yep.
and they think that they can just grab that money, but they don't really live well. The
It
people that
doesn't last, man. That kind of thing don't last.
doesn't last, and then you get caught, then you go to jail. You haven't even raised enough money for your legal fees. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I attribute this to like carjacking and stealing and
Yeah.
robbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, at least if you made enough money that
Mm.
when you get caught, because you will get caught, that
Mhm.
when you get caught, because you're living this life dangerously, you're not that organized, you're not that
Yeah.
smart,
Yeah.
right? So you make this money. I hope that you put aside for your legal fees to get a good lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
Come
Because
on, Doc. Sin does not make sense. Okay,
that's
so
it.
you can't ask the sinner to plan well for their sin. It doesn't work, man. It
That's
doesn't
why it
work
says
like
the
that.
wages of sin is death.
Absolutely.
Can you afford sin? You got to pay for sin. It's
Yeah.
not free.
Yeah.
Snatching from somebody else is not free. It will cost you in the end. And most of the reason why the prison system is so full is because these guys did the crime, but did not put aside their earnings
Yeah.
to pay for the right
The
lawyer.
representation.
Now again, we have millionaires, billionaires doing crimes, and they have enough money to pay good lawyers to work around the law. We see that. But when we talk about mentorship, it's all about kind of putting things into perspective for the young people
Hmm.
as we navigate that and help them to understand you can do this.
Hmm.
But what will it cost you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
for
can
sure.
take advantage of this, but what will it cost you? And that is why we continue to go to God for grace, because it's
Yeah,
like
man. Yeah,
sin is just too costly. It is just too much. But that is the world that we find ourselves in. And in saying that, the Bible says that love covers a multitude
of
of
sin.
sin,
Yeah,
right? And the more love we can put into this world. And I just told some young men, I did my mentorship yesterday, and
yeah.
I told them, I said, hey, it's good to affirm each other. It's okay. You don't have to feel weird saying, I wish you well. You don't
Mhm.
have to, you feel weird about putting love into the atmosphere.
Yeah,
It is okay to spread as much love. And so, speaking of that, we have a book called The Love Triangle. We,
yeah,
we talk about affirmation, advocacy, and acceptance in filament. Now, after our last podcast, I
yeah.
went back and read the book
Really? Okay.
and found it fascinating, because I didn't really think of it from that perspective.
Hmm.
But you bring this out, and I thought that was a creative angle. So tell us a little bit about this book, The Love Triangle.
Yeah, man. The love triangle is about you, God, and Christ, ultimately, right? But the context, the sweet context, is that the Apostle Paul, he goes to Colossae, where the Colossian church is. He didn't start the church, but he goes there and he meets a fellow named Philemon. He starts
Mhm.
a church in Philemon's house. They become really good friends. He baptizes Philemon, his Philemon's son, Philemon's wife, and a church starts to grow in that household. After some point, he leaves and he gets under house arrest in Rome while he waits to kind of make his petition to the authorities. And his friend Philemon is a slave owner. And he's got slaves, he's got servants, he's got a big household, he's a wealthy man. Well, sometime after Paul leaves, one of these slaves, his name is Onesimus, he steals money from his master Philemon and runs away.
Mhm. Mhm.
When he runs away, he ends up in Rome and he meets up with Paul. No doubt he recognizes Paul from the time that Paul spent in his master's house. There's something about Paul that makes him feel, safe going to Paul there. And Paul accepts him, does not condemn him, builds him up, protects him, and at the right time says, hey, you got to go back because
Hmm.
this is what's needed. Now, when you look at it through our current 2025 eyes, who would want to send a slave back to slavery? But what
Yes.
you find in this story is that he does not send him back to what he was. He sends him back to where he was, but different. You find at the end of this that Paul takes on the cost of everything for Onesimus, and
Mm.
there's nothing to charge Onesimus with. And Paul asked him to be taken back and celebrated the way that Paul would be celebrated when he comes. Now, when you look at the story through the lens of the Bible, you see these biblical types. The slave owner, in this case, Philemon, is a type of God, the owner, the master.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the Onesimus, the runaway slave, the thieving runaway slave, is a type of the sinner, like us, who leave our God, run into the world, take from him what we want, or time or resources that he has given, and we waste it. And then
Mm.
Paul is a type of Jesus Christ, who, no matter where we are, how lost we are, finds us, comforts us, transforms us, winds
Mhm.
us up spiritually, points us back to God, and we get reunited. So you have these 3 points of this relationship:
Yeah.
God, Christ, and the sinner. Philemon, Onesimus, and Paul, the love triangle. Because everyone is impacted. Everyone is loved in this, but they feel unloved. Everyone is broken by this, but they feel that maybe there's a way to be healed. Everyone has a little sense of lostness, but there's this bridge in between. For us, it's Christ. For Onesimus and for Philemon, it was Paul, who believes enough. When you talk about mentorship, when you talk about rebuilding, Doc,
Mm-hmm.
that's what comes to my mind. I don't
Yeah.
care what young men think about the world and their neighborhood as a bridge. I'm going to show them how it can be done. Paul does this. He's this advocate, right? This is where the advocacy comes in. This is where the acceptance comes in, right? And so it's too much right now to dive into the great detail of it. But I'll say this: that Paul writes this letter from Rome, gives it to Onesimus, the thieving runaway slave, and sends him back as the courier to Philemon to give him the letter that will pronounce his freedom. And this is what Christ does for us. He writes a letter on our behalf. Every one of us, our names come up in glory. And if we have the right relationship with him, with his blood, with his sacrifice, with his love, with his grace, with his mercy, he pens this letter for us. Each of us can have this kind of love letter in our love triangle between us, Christ, and God the Father. And this is my favorite book in the entire Bible because it's got 25 verses, and the first 19 of them pronounce for you the full picture of salvation for
Wow.
humanity. It never speaks about the death of Christ on the cross. It never speaks about his blood.
Mm.
It
Mm-mm.
does not even mention the name salvation,
Wow.
but it exposes all of it richly. So the book is there. There are 4 parts to the book. So in December when this drops, you'll be able to see the return is one portion, and then love is another portion, and then home is another portion, and then release. There are 9 chapters there that I think takes us well beyond what we would skim through in the Bible and see just as these 25 verses. And you see really, really rich thinking about what Christ has done to save us and how he elegantly allowed Paul to be used as this picture of himself so that you and I can understand it doesn't matter how far we've gone. If Paul can save Onesimus, Jesus with his blood can save me. Uh,
Wow.
and I dare anyone to read my book about this and then go back to read Philemon again and see it the same way that you had before.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
telling you,
I just love it. I love it.
that is amazing. So, listen, everybody, we want you to check out. Now, will this book be available on your website?
It'll, it'll be available on the website lancemoncrieffe.com. But Amazon is where I'm pushing everyone. That's where I'm going to be dropping this.
Okay.
And then I'm going to a number of regional areas to kind of speak at churches, talk about the book,
Mhm.
preach around the content of it. And then there's a whole leadership piece to it, Paul's leadership in all of this, what leadership really means, that we get to share with some of our leaders. So looking forward to that portion of the drop.
Absolutely, everybody. So listen, you can go to the website here, and there's a QR code. So the QR code will take you to the website, lancemoncrieffe.com. And in December, when this is released, you can check it out. He'll have the advertising so that you can know, okay, be alerted that hey, it's on Amazon, it's ready to go. And so we are excited about that. We are excited about that. Yes, sir. Wow. This has been a blessing. This has been a blessing, everybody. We once again send our prayers out to those in Jamaica. And for those who are going through it, there is help coming.
Mhm.
We're looking at people on the streets here in USA, between Baltimore and New York. There are still initiatives where we're trying to help people through SNAP benefits and finding resources to go here and there. So while we are also looking at Jamaica, we're looking at what's happening in your
Yeah.
hometown and whatever you can always be. I try to carry something in the car. Um, because I drive through Baltimore a lot, and there's
Yeah.
always somebody on there. So I try to keep something, a little fruit bowl or, something that I can, hey man, here, this is all I have,
Yeah.
but this
Yeah.
is yours for the day. And they're very grateful, and especially if you're coming from an event, you have leftover
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not necessarily trying to um, eat that leftover food later. Maybe it's just something you carry in your car just in case, and you're
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
hand it over. Whatever you can do to help humanity, it is a wonderful thing. So let's be prepared to help each other and support each other. Yes, and listen, everybody, you can find me. You can find me right here on these platforms. You can check out my Instagram page at drphil2.com, at drphil2 underscore 2. And so we're here, and so we want you to follow these platforms and join us because we want to be in touch and engage. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram and any of these platforms. We are looking forward to it. So, listen, everybody. This is Feel Good Friday. Now, before we go, you know
Mhm.
what we have to do. This is Feel Good Friday. We have to tell somebody what they can feel good about. What would
Man,
you feel good about?
there are a lot of folk who lost everything in the last week and a half, everything that they have. And to the extent you're on a stream net right now, means you got electricity, you got power, you got your devices, you have more convenience than some other folk. You got some stuff to feel good about. In a couple hours, it's going to be sunset. God's Sabbath is starting. I can't think of anything that you could feel better about than the coming in of God's Sabbath. So feel good today, give yourself to Him, and let somebody else feel good because of what God does through you.
Hey, we love it. We love it. Hey, listen, everybody. This is Feel Good Friday. We try to bring content to you as often as possible on Fridays and just to give some hope to this world. Thank you so much. The future, Dr. Moncrieffe, the
Uh,
future. But thank you, Coach Moncrieffe. We appreciate you and check his website out once again. If you're in need of coaching, speaking, whatever that is in the business space, in the corporate space, in the church space,
yeah.
make sure you do that. And by the way, I gave daps to your senior pastor, and we talked about you for a minute.
Okay.
So please send my love and appreciation to him.
Will
When you,
do. Will do. Will do.
yes,
All
sir.
right.
All right.
Enjoy. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the Sabbath when it comes in, man.
Amen. That's right. All right, everybody. We'll see you. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.
It's Feel Good Friday with Dr. Phil 2. It's time to fill your Friday with something good. Come on together, let's shape a new start with clarity, confidence, and purpose. It's Feel Good Friday.